Hey guys, we're gonna make some dinner. I was thinking we're gonna make some chicken stroganoff. So sometimes I make my Alfredo and stuff with cottage cheese. This time I'm gonna do a mix. I'm gonna extend the Alfredo that already comes made with some cottage cheese. And we're gonna add some umami with this truffle flavoring. It's called truffle seasoning. And we're gonna have some mushrooms in there and top it off with a little bit of sun-dried tomatoes. I am taking the cottage cheese and putting some Parmesan, some milk, and mixing it up with a few spices, some chicken bouillon, and we're gonna make some zoodles. And that should all be under 300 calories, full of protein, full of fiber, and we're meeting our fat as well because this already has fat in it. Otherwise, we would find fat from other sources. We're gonna go with this one today. We usually find healthier fats, but sometimes let's just have fun with our Alfredo. When I make Alfredo, for the most part, I do make it with cottage cheese and it's higher protein and all that. But I wanted to try that thing out. So I'm going to heat up my pan. I'm going to make my zoodles. It's just a little trinket here to get our zoodles going. Just chop off that end and munch on it. Yum. Nice and crunchy. I have to probably half it. Put that in there. And it's kind of a fun little tool. You just push it down. Usually have no issues. There we go. Push it down and start spinning. And you get yourself some zoodles. Look at that. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Another little piece to munch on. Zoodle it up. Okay, got our zoodles. Put that to the side. Munch on my zucchini. And I already have some chicken that I make batches of chicken and I flavor them in different ways, like Italian, Greek, Asian, and then I just put them in little Ziploc freezer bags, keep them in the freezer and pull them out. And then I weigh them to make sure that it's near, I weigh them before I cook them. Should be around 3 ounces, but it changes once you cook them. You should stay to the raw weight. But I kind of like go in between because this is really small. So because it was really small, it was only 2 ounces. And that's why I'm adding the cottage cheese to add more protein to it. So let's see. I wanted to just assemble this. So we've got the zoodles and we're going to add this and we need to mix this. So I need to get my blender so we can mix that up. We're also going to be using this with our zoodles. That way we have extra kind of like noodle stuff and it'll be a giant plate. I'm going to add just a little teeny bit of xanthan gum to our Alfredo that we're concocting over here. That way it gets nice and creamy. Might need to add a little water because usually I make bigger batches of this, but since I was just trying to extend the other one, I added just a bunch of cottage cheese and not really anything else, maybe a little milk. So we'll see how thick that is. It might be a little too thick, so we'll have to thin it out. If you've ever used sun-dried tomatoes, they're very oily. They have lots of oil. So I found these that have no oil. So check them out. They're kind of cool. All right, our sauce is tasting pretty good. I'm going to add a little more truffle just to make it that stroganoff rather than just Parmesan. Or Alfredo. And over there in our pan, you can move this out of the way now. We can start heating up our zoodles. I'll oil the pan a little. And heat up our zoodles. Just to tenderize them a little bit, turn them into, noodles. Oh, that truffle stuff. It smells so good. I could probably sit there and just eat that. You can use it on popcorn too. I love this stuff on popcorn. It is so good. Get my 1/4 cup of the Alfredo, mix it into my made Alfredo. That way I'm putting them both together. Although, actually, I think I'm going to put this into the pan first and then this. You don't want to add the cottage cheese to the pan too early because you can make it curdle and you don't want to do that. So we're just going to season our little zoodles a little. Maybe a little garlic powder, a little onion powder. How about a little Sicilian powder? Molto bene. Oh yeah, it smells good. And I added a little butter extract in there. You know what? Instead I add mustard. Want to try? I guess we could try a little. We'll add it once it's getting warmed up over there. So we're getting our zoodles going over here. I'm going to add a little dash of paprika and a little dash of red chili flakes, just so it hits in the back a little teeny weeny bit. Just a tiny bit of salt because I don't want it to make them too tender, so just the tiniest bit. And we already got most of our seasoning in our Alfredo stuff, but basically just Italian seasonings. It's feeling pretty good just on its own. We've got some zoodles with some flavor. I think that smells pretty decent. So, again, this is going to be pretty quick and easy. We're going to put our Konjac noodles that we have rinsed in there as well. And definitely give these a little saute because it makes them, I've noticed that they feel a little slimy if you don't. And if you get them in here in the pan, then that goes away. And they feel more like an actual pasta. But sometimes the sliminess kind of works because if you're making like Asian food, then your zoodles, or not your zoodles, your noodles, your Konjac noodles, that works for that. And they have all kinds of different noodle configurations. They have that thicker one that could be like a fettuccine, and the thinner one that looks like spaghetti, and even thinner ones that look like those Asian noodles when you're making like takeout. So this is what's going on in the pan. And now we're just gonna add our sauce. Actually, first I'm gonna add my mushrooms. I had a bunch of mushrooms that were starting to get old, so we can just plop those right in there. Turn the heat down. Again, we don't want to make our zoodles mush, so we don't cook them that much. So we've got that warmed through. And we'll get our 1/4 cup of Alfredo. Give it a little mix. Level it out. Warm it up in there. That's pretty good tasting Alfredo. I think mine tastes better though. Okay, so we're gonna mix that, and then here in a minute, once that gets warmed up, I'm gonna add my Alfredo that's in here. That has that, it's dark, it has those specks in there because of that truffle seasoning that I added to it. And I think they can warm up together. So we'll put that in there. Angle you. Okay, so let me show you what's going on over here. We are warming up the rest of our Alfredo sauce in there, ever so gently, and we're just going to top it off with our chicken and our tomato, sun-dried tomatoes. This turned out really good. That's some good Alfredo. And that's just the cottage cheese Alfredo. So, give you a little more. Warm this up. And pretty much be set to serve it. I'm just gonna warm up my little chicken so that I can cut it up and place it on top. Warm that up for just maybe 20 seconds, 25 seconds. And that's it. We're gonna plate now. I added just a teeny bit of this and a little bit more of my truffle stuff. Look at this creamy Alfredo. Let's see. Put you over here somehow so you can see in the light without burning my phone. Look at that. Yummy yum. See? We can have Italian food. Just gotta figure out how to do it. This is all gonna be under 300 calories. Can you believe it? And it's all gonna be good for us. Look at this giant bowl. I'm gonna cut the chicken over here. Into little slices. Cut against the grain. You don't microwave your chicken for too long. You don't want to make it rubbery. Place it on my plate. That's looking good. Put my little sun-dried tomatoes all around it. I will say they look not as red as the ones that are from the thingy-mabobber, but they're better for us. A little bit of parsley on top just to make it look fancy. And that's it. A little bit of this on top. A little bit more of the umami. Just a tiny bit. I'm gonna do a little bit of fresh salt, fresh pepper, a little bit of the peppers. I want to see some red. You always have to have a little red to see, right? And that's it, under 300 calories for this big old plate of Alfredo. Look at that. Delicious. Yum. Let's take a bite. Grab me a fork. I'm out of forks, so I'm gonna have to use my giant fork. But look at this. Delish and nutrish, under 300 calories. I hope you enjoy. There'll be some stuff down there that you can take a look into and try the recipe out. It's pretty easy, simple and quick, and good for you. Enjoy.